And another metaphor that I think is also helpful in thinking about how karma operates within us is to think about our nervous system and our mind as being kind of like a computer and an operating system. And the karmic patterns themselves are like the software code. You know, they're in there. And so when we experience a recurring pattern of any kind, the old part of us, the pattern I talked about earlier, tends to think and struggle against that pain and that frustration, which ultimately isn't helpful. It keeps us in the same struggle experience. It keeps reinforcing the fact that we are struggling and feeling pain. But the pain itself is not the problem, and this is part of shifting to the higher understanding of things and the higher perspective. The pain is not the cause of our problems either. The underlying issue is actually the programming or the pattern of that karmic energy. So we want to shift away from judging our reactions and thinking that something's wrong with us, or that I need to do better or change or fix myself, and instead recognize I need to remove the karma that's causing the pattern. I need to just change the program. There's not something wrong with me. My computer works fine. I'm just running a program that doesn't help. I'm running a piece of software that's not helpful. And so I'm not broken. I'm completely capable of running the program. I just need a different program. I need something that's going to actually support me in my happiness. And what we start to understand is that these patterns were created from our past experiences, when we might not have had the resources to make better choices, or we might not have had the safety to make better choices even. And so what we start to discover is that the patterns that we're running now are oftentimes strategies of pattern that we created to keep ourselves safe or to try to navigate a particular experience. And in most of our cases, we're no longer actually in the original experience that caused us to form the strategy. But we have to bring enough awareness to recognize, like, oh, I'm actually doing this strategy and it's not helping me experience the closeness, the connection, the happiness, the love, the whatever it is that I really am wanting. And to be willing to be curious about what that pattern is, where it came from, sometimes is helpful, not always. We don't always need to know where it came from, but we do need to recognize, like, hey, this program is not working. And to be able to step back enough to say, this program's not working. I'm not broken, but there's something that needs to change here. And so what we want to be able to change then is to recognize that the strategy, the pattern, the software program is the thing that needs to be changed, not quote unquote something about me that needs to change. Now, yes, it will eventually, as we purify these things, as we remove the karmic patterns, our character, our outer expression, the way we behave, the way we interact will also start to change because we start running new programs. But the core essence of who we are as spiritual beings is not broken. And that, of course, is the teaching of the deeper truth of ourselves, that there's something about ourselves that is beyond the body, beyond the mind, beyond the thoughts that we can think of as pure consciousness or spirit or awareness or however you want to name it or label it at this time, but that there is a part of us that's ultimately free from the experiences of even the karma. But we have to learn to be able to step out of identifying with the karmic patterns as being ourselves or our problems or our fault. And so instead of that, we want to recognize that I need to remove the karma that's causing the pattern. Then the program will change. And at that point, it's no longer about it being my fault. The real issue is just the karmic pattern. Just change the code, that we're not broken. We're just running a program that doesn't support the higher potential of freedom, and that we don't need to change our true self. We simply need to remove the program that doesn't work.